on.
Just saw another patient. I saw her from middle school on, and I know her mother and her father very well, and she's now a physical therapist in our community. These kids, they're having their families, and they still are coming in to see me after all these years. You know, they can move on and go to other places. They still come to me, and that means a lot. I'm Dr. John Lydiot from Springs Dentistry, and I'd like to invite you into our family.
Good morning, crew. This is Peaks to Plains weather here. I am Matt Meister. Top of the morning to you. A little coffee here. American classic coffee. I've got the dad's coffee in there, and it is delicious. It's a dark roast, some chocolate and hazelnut notes. How are you? Man, I am good. I am good. Summer coming to an end in the Meister household. My son goes back to college next week. He and I are going to drive next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, get him back to Indiana. I'll be doing weather from the road, Peaks to Plains weather. It goes with me wherever I am. Some days I feel like it's a bad stench that I can't get rid of. But no, we'll be doing that. And then my daughter, our youngest, she graduated in May, as you might know. She goes the week after, late part of the week after. So getting ready for that here, some transitions in the Meister household. And some days there's more emotions than others. And we had one of those late yesterday. So How are you, though? I appreciate you being here with us on this Wednesday morning. It's really nice out there. Susan says that from Palmer Lake. She's usually out on the deck in the mornings. Susan, thanks for checking in. Yesterday, I was honored to be the MC of the Academy District 20 all-staff back-to-school event at Liberty High School. And few folks came up and said they're loving the app. So to those that did, thank you for doing so. Got to meet the interim superintendent, Dr. Susan Field. She's a big Peaks to Plains weather fan. So if she's watching this morning, good morning. Thanks for checking in with you here, or checking in with me here, I guess I should say. I'm off a little bit this morning. I apologize for that. It's probably going to be obvious because I don't know. I just feel off. Yesterday, it was still hot. On the river, we hit 100. Canyon City out across the plains out toward Lamar. Colorado Springs, we were still hot, 93. Denver, 97. Remember that, because they're not going to get there today. And our mountain areas, only Saguache in the mountain valleys hit 90. We will see fewer areas do that today. Here's kind of a headline. This is pretty sort of obvious as I widen the view. You can see that the monsoon has really gotten going now over Arizona. See that southerly flow into Utah? And crew, that's what really is going to drive our weather here over the next couple of days and through the weekend. And a cold front that will arrive over the eastern plains tonight. Those two things really starting to change up our weather around here. Outside this morning, well, it's already a little bit different. I'm going to begin with kissing camels. A beautiful shot. About 5 minutes ago, the sun was lighting up the sandstone there in the foreground. It was just stunning. It was so pretty. I'm going to post that on social media. But there are some clouds. That's an indication that we've got more water in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. And check this out. Our dew points are higher across the board than we've been the last couple of days. In fact, we're around 50 over parts of the plains. All of that a sign that the atmosphere is moistening up and rain becoming more and more likely with more storms here the next few days. Temperatures very comfortable this morning. We're in the 60s and 70s east of the mountains. La Junta, the warm spot on this map. Alamosa, good morning. We've got 55. And Salida this morning starting at 48. Want to take a couple looks at some cameras here. Pueblo, 67 this morning. Not blazing sun yet on this shot. Partly because we have some clouds around and also because the sun is coming up later and later. I don't know if you have noticed that, but man, I sure have over the last week or two. At the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, just outside of the South Gate this morning on I-25. It is 62, and we'll make a stop in Canyon City this morning as well. Thanks for checking in. You can see some of the cloud cover there. Where it is 70. And so these clouds around this morning, one of the indications that things are a little bit different. Lueva, checking in this morning. She says good morning. And Jacqueline is in Cripple Creek. Thanks for starting your day with us here at Peaks to Plains. We are all blessed to be starting off our day in Colorado. And so I think we should talk about what happens with the forecast here. For the rest of the day and the next couple of days here, because obviously things are going to be a little bit different. So let's jump into that short-term forecast. And here's why I wanted you to pay attention to Denver's temperature, because I think we're lower than that today. Cool front starts moving into northeastern Colorado. It'll move across the southern part of the state tonight. So we're still going to get some 100s out across the plains, along the river, and out near Kansas. Up against the hills with the clouds we've already got this morning and a little bit better chance of some storms this afternoon for some of us. I think we come down a few degrees. We might hit 100 in a couple of neighborhoods in Pueblo, but up against the hills in Canyon, we're not going to do that today. And our mountain valleys come down a number of degrees as storms are going to be expected today, and they are going to produce some widespread rain. Let me give you another perspective of that monsoon flow I was talking about. I'm just going to take you right down into Arizona here and notice the southerly flow. So this loop I've got of the clouds and the radar is over the last 18 hours. And as the loop begins, the flow over Arizona was kind of from southeast to northwest, but that's really started to change. And in just the last 6 hours, it's really south to north now. That's in response to the area of high pressure I've been talking about. I don't know, to me, I've been doing so much weather. It seems like for weeks, But as that's shifting over the southeastern United States, it's going to bring the flow from the south to north that it has right now. And watch the last couple frames of the loop here. But over the next 6 to 12 hours, we're going to really start curling it from southwest to northeast. And that benefits us here in Colorado. So we're going to grab all that moisture. There's some thunderstorms down there this morning. And we're just going to get active here for the rest of the week into the weekend. It's what we've been talking about for days on end now. And so this afternoon, look at some of the dew points over the mountain valley areas. Now, some of this is in response to the model by 3 o'clock has picked up on thunderstorms and it's bringing that rain down to the surface. And so some of that is inflated in some of the thunderstorm cores. But the point being is that there's more water than we've had the last couple of days. And we've been talking about this being a process, right? Like each day was going to get progressively more and more moist. So by the afternoon, pretty good coverage of storms over the mountains. Most of them are going to form up on the terrain, the peaks, the higher slopes, that terrain, that orographic influence is what will develop them. But then as we move through the afternoon, there's enough water around that will sustain those storms as they move off to the northeast. Now, there's a couple of areas that are going to kind of be the focus of storms today. We'll get one area of sort of main development kind of down across the southern mountains, and then the central mountains will be another area of some development, and we will get a couple along the front range here. Out across the plains, there's nothing to sort of force the storms. There's no trigger. And so we'll have to wait until a little bit later in the afternoon or the evening to start to get some storms, and eventually we'll have that potential. So through 5 o'clock, we're keeping a lot of it over the mountains, and then maybe into the Pikes Peak region, with Pikes Peak popping a couple of storms, and then the Palmer Divide starting to get in on the action, and that's because that front is coming in from the north here late in the day. Almost all of the storms over the mountains will have potential for heavy rain. Some of them east of the mountains will through the afternoon. So we may get some downbursts in the Pikes Peak region. That's certainly a possibility. But as we move into tonight, a couple of things happen. The front's coming into northeastern Colorado, and we've got the cold pool from the storms that were farther to the south over the mountains starting to roll out across the plains. That will start to develop some thunderstorms. We've been seeing that process every day here the last few days. But as the front comes in from the north tonight, we may keep things around a little bit longer than we have the last several nights. I don't think these storms this evening over the plains are going to be as strong as the mountain ones or the late afternoon ones in the Pikes Peak region that are near the hills. But again, we'll keep them around a little bit longer. And then in the monsoon plume, I can't rule out a couple of storms as we move through the overnight and early morning as well. We've got some of those happening in Arizona this morning that I showed you. And so as that moisture comes up our way, we'll keep a couple of those in the forecast to start off Thursday. So this is really like the big kind of flip of the pattern today, because tomorrow's a lot different. Say sayonara to the 100s across the far eastern plains. I mean, Pueblo, we may not even hit 90 tomorrow. Colorado Springs up on the north end, some areas may not hit 80. I don't think we hit 80 in a lot of the mountain and valley areas on Thursday. So we've certainly changed things up behind that front that comes in. And the moisture tomorrow is going to be more significant than today. In fact, over the plains, as the day begins, let me go back here on my loop, like we'll be well into the 50s. So we've got low-level moisture too, and as I've been talking about, we're pushing that up into the hills tomorrow behind the front. We get the upslope as we move into the afternoon, and we continue to moisten up the monsoon. It'll be thicker tomorrow than it is today. So then what happens? And I don't love some of these projections of the evolution that I'm seeing this morning. I grabbed the one that I thought made the most sense, but we're going to have to take the specifics kind of day by day here in terms of where I think the clusters of the heaviest rain is going to be. So on Thursday, what the models are doing is they're developing some pretty widespread storms in the monsoon plume prior to lunch over the mountain areas. And they're latching onto a wave, and a couple are really doing this, where they fire up the storms pretty significantly here, where we have that low-level moisture and the monsoon plume meeting up, and then they latch onto that, and they shove everything off to the east. So notice here that there's a much better coverage of storms over the plains Thursday than we get out there today. And the mountains have some pretty widespread ones. Then what they do into the evening is they take that first kind of batch of storms and they weaken things back over the hills. That's the part I don't know if I necessarily love. I think we'll be a little bit busier back here over the mountains into the evening than the models are picking up on. So I'll kind of watch that today. I'll push out some updates if I see that. But notice the heavy rain threat out here. So that moves from the mountains in the afternoon out across the plains because all of these storms are going to have moisture to work with. So hopefully that makes sense. And notice how we're keeping things around a little bit longer here in the monsoon plume. So let me show you that one more time. I'll hit the early part of the afternoon here. So we've got storms firing up really anywhere tomorrow, and any of them are going to have the potential for some heavy rain. And again, the part I don't love is after 5 o'clock, how it kind of quiets things down over the mountains. I'm not sure that's how it's going to work out. So I'll keep watching that. And then the specifics for Friday, we'll have to see what kind of happens tomorrow for where the bullseyes will be, but we've still got the low-level moisture in place over the plains. We've still got the monsoon, and we're still going to have heavy rain. So heads up in the Aspen Acres fire in particular. I think Thursday into Friday and even into the weekend, we're at such an elevated risk. If we're catching storms multiple rounds in a day that are putting down close to an inch of rain, that could obviously cause some problems. And some of these storms may cause some issues in some of the urban areas as well. Check this out. Kevin says, I actually had a couple of drops of rain this morning in Rocky Ford. Hallelujah. That's awesome. I love it. I mean, that gives you a sign here that the atmosphere is changing up. And Julie says, let's get a few breaks in between so we can soak it in and then get some more rain. Praying about that. I've been praying about that as well, Julie. Lots of our ranchers need some water in the pastures. So let's hope that we can get some of that action. Isaac's got his big concert tonight in Green Mountain Falls. He says, let's hope it rains. He sent me some info on that. I think he's playing 6 to 8 is where it's scheduled. I don't know, Isaac. I think that one's going to be a little bit rough. Julia is watching from La Junta this morning. Julia, thanks for checking in with us here on Peaks to Plains Weather. I'm going to talk about the extended part of the forecast when I come back. You are on Peaks to Plains Weather, our weather together. It's 6:45 now on this Wednesday. Thanks for being here with me. Don't go anywhere. Love your yard with a new outdoor space from F&B Landscaping. From a new build to a new project in an existing yard, we listen and give you the yard you want within your budget. Lawns, water features, xeriscaping. We've got the artistic touch and technical know-how to bring the peak of Colorado outdoor living to your home. Reliable, trustworthy. Visit fblandscapes.com to schedule a free consultation today.
Hey Peaks to Plains viewers, this is John over here at Petrali Roofing. It's hail season here in Colorado, and you might think that your roof doesn't have hail damage, but think again. Hail damage is hard to spot from the ground. That's why Petrali Roofing does free 21-point inspections. Give us a call today. We'll come out and take a look. And if we do find hail damage and your roof qualifies for a re-roof, you'll get $250 off if you choose us to do that installation. So give us a call today, 719-375-8773. Have us come out and take a look today.
Emergencies are unpredictable, but you don't have to be unprepared. Peak Alerts sends you targeted emergency alerts in real time for the places that matter to you most, so you know what's happening and what to do next. Know first, act fast. That's the power of Peak Alerts.
Ramos Law serves people. We make the world a better place. We put people ahead of anything else. It's my name on this business. It's my face on the billboards. And what you don't see through any of that stuff is you don't see my heart. We've built this family, this Ramos Law family, in a way that will include you. And hopefully by the end of our representation, you also feel part of the Ramos Law family. I look forward to taking care of you.
All right, about our extended forecast, is it okay if I do this with coffee this morning? I hope so. I need it. So I'm going to keep this with me. In fact, I'm going to take a little. Gets the day going. Gets the day going good when it's American Classic coffee. Water vapor imagery. This helps us to see where the water is in the atmosphere, even when we don't see thunderstorms. Thunderstorms pull water through the atmosphere vertically, and so when we have those happening, you get these areas, where we're looking at the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere and water vapor. You get some colorization. But notice that the high has moved off to the east. It's actually centered over Oklahoma this morning, and it's that sort of movement of this that we've been talking about that puts us in a favorable spot, because not only do we have good southerly tap here of the monsoon, and you can see all the milky white there, but as it moves off to the southeast a little bit more, we're going to grab that plume and kind of pull it sort of southwest to northeast across Colorado. That's in the best spot it can be, and it more or less is going to stay there over the weekend into the early sort of part of next week. And so we're going to keep some storms around in a pretty significant way across Colorado, something that we certainly need here in our forecast, and we are glad to see it. So let's talk about how things change up here as we move through the next couple of days. I'm going to roll through our upper level pattern here and show you that as we hit the afternoons, we see storms develop, and they'll be pretty widespread, not only over the mountains, but there's good potential over the plains for some of these thunderstorms to have heavy rain. And again, up where the airplanes fly, I put these black lines on here because that's kind of what the flow follows. And so you see that we have that southwest to northwest flow, not just for tomorrow, but into Friday as well. And moving into the start of the weekend here, the pattern doesn't really change too much. The high's still here off to the southeast, and we've still got the tap. We may get a day or two in here where there's a little bit less activity, kind of depending on the timing of waves, because there's a bunch of little disturbances in the atmosphere that are rotating through this flow. So I'm not going to get hung up on the details of where, like on Saturday, this hemispheric model does or doesn't have storms. There is some signs that we may be a little bit busier up to our north than will be over Colorado on Saturday. And Sunday might be the wetter of the 2 weekend days, but I can't guarantee that, but that's kind of how things are trending here. But we've still got the monsoon tap. Ice still off to our southeast, so we're still in business as we head into early next week. And that's what we want. I mean, we need multiple days of storms, no doubt about that. And then we may start to break things up a little bit next week. The high starts the process of shifting off to the west again, and eventually that'll break up our flow, but then might reestablish off to the east. And so, hey, at least it's in the neighborhood. I mean, it's not like last week when we didn't have any storms around and, it was pretty quiet across the area. So our extended forecast is still looking really good with the potential for heavy rain here right on through the weekend. And you're not going to get hit with a storm every day, but they will be out there every day, and the storms that are out there will put down some heavy rain. So we've been talking about the flash flood concerns. Already mentioned it this morning for the Aspen Acres fire. The other fires and burns that we've got in Colorado are going to be susceptible as well. But even in the urban areas or spots where we get heavy rain over a day or two and the soils start to get saturated, we'll have to keep an eye out for that. Remember, the easiest thing to do in a flash flood warning is just seek higher ground. So especially if you're in the mountains where there's varied terrain, if you just scurry up the hillside, if you're camping or something this weekend, just remember that's the easiest thing to do, at least in an immediate situation if things are changing fast. So I've got storms in the forecast every day over the mountain areas here for the next, week and a half or so. Coverage might come down a little bit early next week, so you can see my percent chances there in Woodland Park come down a little bit Tuesday and Wednesday. That's something we'll watch, the evolution of that. I've also got storms in the forecast as a possibility for every day in Colorado Springs, but once we kind of get past the late week and weekend here, they'll be more isolated in nature early next week, and then we might thicken that flow up again, as I said. I think over the plains, we'll lose the coverage of some storms next week, and so right on through the weekend here, could get them every day. And so outdoor activities are going to be impacted if they hit you, and just something to know. If you hear thunder, you're close enough to a storm, you should head inside. Lightning, certainly a risk from storms in Colorado, but the big story here The next several days is really the rain with these things. We might see some wind gusts that are maybe close to 50, maybe 60 miles per hour over the plains this evening with the storm. I'll keep an eye on that, but it's not a huge severe weather threat, as we move through the weekend in the next few days. But certainly the threat for heavy rain with any of the storms, because we're just primed. I mean, we need the water, and it's here. I do want to let you know that when we are doing live coverage, and there'll probably be some here at some point over the next 4 to 5 days. In fact, I can guarantee it because I know we'll get some flash flood warnings. If you're in a spot, you see something, and you want to help your neighbors, come on. You can use the URLs here. Come into the Peaks to Plains Weather Show, whether it's me or Rachel doing it. On Friday, my family and I are going to the Zach Bryan concert. I'll be doing the coverage because Rachel's got some stuff with the kids in the late afternoon. So Starlink will be all fired up. I'll be doing things in the car while we're driving up to Denver. I'll be in the parking lot until Rachel gets back from what she's doing, and then she'll take over. So isn't it kind of cool how we can do this stuff on the road and do things while we're mobile? That's one of the things I love about it. Now, I kind of can't get rid of Peaks to Plains. Like, I'm never really checking out, to be honest with you. I've been struggling with that lately, the last couple of weeks since Mary had her baby. Haven't been able to divvy up the work as much, but that's okay. It's a season, right? And then, like I said, I'll be doing that next week as my son and I are heading back to college for him into Indiana. I'll be doing things on the road. If there's thunderstorms around in the afternoon and there's some issues, I'll be doing coverage from Interstate 70. No doubt about that. But you can come on as well. So I keep saying this every morning because I'm not sure some of you are doing it, but put one of these URLs into your phone as a contact for Peaks to Plains. And then you're like, oh man, I'm seeing some flash flooding and I'm safe. You hit that contact in your phone for the website. It'll pop it up open. You can do a live report. You can say, hey, Matt, I'm here and there, and here's what I'm seeing. And you can show us, and we'll share it with everybody. It's neighbors helping neighbors. That's what the Our Weather Together is all about. Last thing I have this morning, some of you did, when I was talking about our camera program that we're kind of launching here, some of you already reached out and like, hey, I'm interested in putting a camera on my house. I'd love to do that. Love to be part of Peaks to Plains. I've got those. I will start answering those here over the next week. We'll talk about it, but if you're interested, go to the website. You can find the Contact Us page. Send us some info there. It's inexpensive. I found some really good cameras for, between $200 and $400, depending on the model. We'd love to have you be a part of it. I want cameras in every little nook and cranny, crew. If there's something happening, I want to be able to see it with eyeballs. That's my vision for this as we look over the next several years. I want to be everywhere. I want to do better coverage than everybody else. We already have the most experienced weather team. You coming on board with this, helping out with that. I mean, we're just if something's happening in Colorado, we're all over it. Have a good day, my friends. We will watch some storms this afternoon. I'll be here if anything gets a little bit squirrely over the mountain areas, the Aspen Acres fire. I appreciate you being part of my mornings on Peaks to Plains weather. I hope it's a good start to your day. And have a blessed Wednesday, my friends.
Employee pricing is over, but at Phil Long Ford in Motor City, American value still means something. Colorado's best season, Phil Long's biggest discounts of the year, 0% financing, no payments for 90 days. And I'll throw $1,000 towards your down payment. Plus, get a complimentary 2-year premium maintenance plan.
That's the Phil Long way.
We'll beat any deal by $750, and we'll prove it only at the original Ford store in Motor City.